Good evening, everyone. I welcome you all on behalf of Scale Up Academy and All India Educators Forum in this webinar. This webinar is about effective classroom teaching skills. Being educators, it is a foremost thing for all of us to understand how we can deliver our teaching material or how we can connect to the students to get the most out of it and to get the better understanding. So the first thing comes in our mind is, what is effective teaching? Can you reply me in the chat, what do you mean by effective teaching and how it is different than teaching? If you just scroll up, ma'am, you will find all the links there. Just scroll the chats. At the top, we have provided the links. Yes. So the teaching is about imparting knowledge, but effective teaching is not just about transmitting knowledge, but about creating an environment that supports student growth, creativity, and exploration. It involves building relationships, using innovative approaches, and continuously improving teaching practices to meet the evolving needs of students. This is how we can separate the teaching from the effective teaching. Since the people are still joining, let us understand how and what comes in our mind when we say effective teaching. Keep writing in the chat box. What is your understanding? Yeah, good evening, everyone. Good evening. Yes, Purvi Modi ma'am has written, effective teaching is the teaching which gives you good outcomes after you taught the students. Correct. Geeta ma'am says we should clear each and every point of our students, right? Sujata Paritkar ma'am says an effective method by giving them live examples in our day-to-day life. Okay. Rosa Rao says not just giving information, but help the children imbibe, explore. Absolutely right, ma'am. Purvi ma'am says innovation. Rosa ma'am says experiential learning. Yes, practical knowledge. Teaching which helps to understand students everything with better outcomes. Exactly. Manju ma'am says overall development of children. Yes. Okay, so what comes in the mind when we say effective teaching? The answers are started coming: holistic development, okay, to reach the students, right? Multiple intelligences, okay, activity-based innovation, okay. Martina says how responsive, creative, engaged children are during learning. Absolutely right. Sarika ma'am says effective teaching means the teaching which the child can keep with them for lifelong. Absolutely right, Sarika ma'am. So here we are not only talking about the classroom teaching, but the learning which the child carries throughout the life. Okay. Rosa ma'am says when every student in the class is able to understand the way the teacher explains using different methodologies. Absolutely correct, ma'am. Maya Mishra ma'am says overall development with and making them happy. Exactly. Happiness is the supreme. Relate to real life situations they are in. Rosa ma'am. I can see many teachers are very, very active in the chat. Well done. Okay, Carolina ma'am says able to interact. Exactly, where we are giving the freedom to the child to connect to us without any hesitation. Janet says overall development. Absolutely right, Janet ma'am. Rakhi Joshi ma'am says most importantly, the whole development of the child. Absolutely correct, ma'am. So it means when we are talking or when we are speaking about effective teaching, that does not only mean that we are talking about the content or the academic part. It is the overall impact which we are putting on the child, and where the child is absolutely free to discuss, to talk, to understand, and to explore the learning. So this is how we say that these are some teaching strategies. All the teachers, with the passage of time, when they start teaching and when they get experienced, they find out some kind of strategies for them by which they can make their surroundings, make the classroom a very happy classroom where every pupil is ready to learn something. Every classroom is full of diversities. Everywhere we find, no matter which school you belong to, no matter which classroom you are teaching in, but you will find the diversities. You will find very brilliant students also, the toppers also, but at the same time, you will find students whom you have to push, push, and push again. So every kind of student must be tackled by the different strategies so that we can make our teaching much more meaningful. A very famous educator, Harry Wong, says one of the greatest gifts a caring teacher can contribute to children is to help them learn to sit when they feel like running, to raise their hand when they feel like talking, to be polite to their neighbor, to stand in line without pushing, and to do their homework when they feel like playing. By introducing procedures in the classroom, you are also introducing procedures as a way of living a happy and successful life. And this is how the learning starts. And this is how the pupil and the teacher is on the same page, and the learning starts in a very, very better manner. So, as per the great educators, there are 4 stages of teaching. The first stage is fantasy. So here also I want your answers. What do you understand by this stage, fantasy? Imagination. Okay. I started getting answers. Rosa ma'am says imagination. Sakina ma'am says lifelong learning, imagination. Dream world. Okay. Creativity. First approach. Okay. So basically, okay, Martina ma'am says out of box thinking. Okay. Rosa ma'am says to generate curiosity in students. Okay. So on this first stage, when the teacher is on the first stage, that is the first stage, that is fantasy, here, this kind of teachers, they believe all that they need is fun activities. And they put a lot of efforts in projects, crafts making, preparing some games, some decorations, and not as much sustenance on actual academic achievement. Don't take me wrong, but these teachers want their students to excel, but they have failed to figure out what will make that happen. These kind of teachers comes in stage 1. And nowadays, we find due to social medias, because it is again a pressure on most of the teachers that this video has to be prepared, this photos have to be clicked and to be shared on the social media. And most of the energy of the teachers are diverted on preparing these kind of things rather than preparing the content which could be ultimately beneficial for the students. How many of you do agree on this? Yeah, Manju ma'am says right. Yeah, Purvi ma'am is also agree. Neeta ma'am is also agree. Sarita ma'am is also agree. Dr. Tiwari is also agree. Pratana is also agree. Arishu Chauhan is also agree. Simi Thomas is also agree. Yeah, Deepika, yeah, Rosa is also agree. Samakshi is also agree. Yeah. So this is, thank you so much on agreeing this point. But at the same time, though, as an educator, we have to follow those things. But still, we cannot keep ourselves aside by saying that this is what been told to me by my school and this is what I am doing. We cannot compromise by our foremost duty, that is to connect to the student, to connect to the child, because the child is ultimately completely dependent upon us. Let us move to stage 2, that is survival. This kind of stage also tells us that these teachers, they don't see teaching as a career, but a job with a paycheck. We can understand that yes, money is also very essential part of our life. We can ignore it. But at the same time, to understand if by choice or by chance, if we are into this profession, we cannot compromise with the academic part of the students or with the overall growth of the students. These stage 2 type teachers, they can often be noticed giving excuses for why some work is not accomplished. They find excuses just to go away of the work, whatever is given to them. So how many out of us are coming in stage 2? Can I get some honest answers? By chance. Dr. Tiwari says by chance teachers. Maybe many of us who are a part of this workshop, maybe by chance, not by choice. We do agree, but still, if we are there, we have to be wholeheartedly. Okay, the new coming teacher. Okay. So according to Dr. Tiwari, all the new teachers, those who are joining this profession, maybe they are not so ready to do additional work for the teaching purpose. Okay, by choice, Gajendra Singh says by choice, Rosa says by choice. If you are coming by choice, there is nothing else better than that. Rakhi Joshi ma'am says, I really love teaching. Along with teaching, I love to discuss their issues also. Exactly. That is what required. Okay. Sophie ma'am also says youngsters. So all the young joinees in this workshop, are you agree here? Do you feel that you are coming in the stage 2 category? Okay, Manju ma'am says my passion. That's great, ma'am. If we are coming by our own choice, there is nothing better than that. But even if we are coming here by chance, we should understand that there must be something which we are destined for. And if I am there in this profession, I should give my 100%. Okay, Vibha ma'am says it takes some time to understand that we have, I just missed the chat. Okay, it takes some time to understand that we have a great responsibility. Yes, Vibha ma'am, absolutely right. Because nowadays it is very much easier to switch from one school to another school. And at times we could not even understand that what my responsibility towards the students. Once we introspect, once we understand that responsibility, we straight away come to the stage 3 and we start getting mastery over our subject. So what do you understand by stage 3? That is mastery. What kind of mastery we are talking about? Yes, so these are the teachers who use effective practices to achieve success for their students. These teachers know how to manage and enforce discipline within their class. They teach for mastery and set high expectations. They also take the responsibility for their students' achievements. And believe me, dear teachers, if you are going inside the classroom with the complete preparation, your topic, when you are able to give answers of different kinds, whatever is being raised by the students start respecting you then and only. Okay, I started getting the answers also. Okay, Shri Devi ma'am says it can be about good communication skills or mastery over subject. Yes, Padma ma'am says mastery over content and methodology. Yes, Sophie ma'am says mastery in subject and to understand the child's capacity. Sunita ma'am says excellence in teaching. Rosa ma'am says subject expert understanding of the children, assessment and feedback using various assessments. Preeti ma'am says this. And Geeta ma'am says we are through with the topic. Absolutely. Sarita ma'am says the answers given should be convincing and polite. Absolutely true, ma'am. Vibha ma'am says a combination of reaching the minds as well as maintaining the class decorum. That is the foremost thing, ma'am. Maintaining the class decorum is the foremost thing. Poonam ma'am says mastery of understanding. Shilpa ma'am says teaching strategies. Rakhi ma'am says teachers' behavior with students is also important. Absolutely right, ma'am. Punita ma'am says confident. Obviously, when the teacher is having the mastery over the subject, the teacher is confident. And if the teacher is confident, he can raise the confident pupil. Gajendra sir says excellence in teaching. Simi ma'am says mastery over content and methodology. Neeta ma'am says winning the hearts of our kids. Janet ma'am says approachable. Absolutely right, ma'am. And then the fourth stage comes, that is impact. So this is the highest level that a teacher can obtain impact. They introduce their students and fuel a lifelong desire to learn. This is what in the beginning also, some of you have replied that what impact as a teacher we are creating on the minds of our learners. So that is stage 4. If we are, now we can see in which category we are. I want your answers to give me in the chat box in which stage you feel that you are in at this moment. Stage 1, 2, 3, or 4. Okay, Poona ma'am says stage 4. That's good, ma'am. Rosa ma'am says 4. Okay. Dr. Raghuvendra Tiwari ji says 4th stage. Devya ma'am says stage 4. Rosa ma'am says stage 4. Shilpa ma'am says stage 3. Vibha ma'am says stage 4. Purvi ma'am says stage 4. Geeta ma'am says stage 3. Janet ma'am says stage 4. Rizvi ma'am says stage 3. Martina ma'am says stage 4. Sima ma'am says stage 4. Rishu ma'am says stage 4. Rakhi ma'am says stage 4. Anjali ma'am says stage 4. Gajendra sir says stage 3. Okay, here I could not see the name. It is by the mobile, I believe. Dell, stage 4. Shri Devi ma'am says stage 3. Maya ma'am says stage 3. Sophie ma'am says stage 4. Deepika, stage 4. Sunita ma'am says stage 4. Rupa ma'am says stage 4. So it's really great to see all of you, most of you are on stage 4 or stage 3. And I'm really finding it very good that you are giving me your honest replies. Some are saying stage 3 also. So by that, I can understand that these are the real and honest replies. Thank you so much, everyone, for this. Neetu ma'am says stage 4. Why only some of the educators are active on the chat? Here we have crossed the number more than 100 in this webinar. Please come up with your answers. Don't shy. This is one of the practical way where you can connect with your students also in the similar way. There also you find the diversity in your students. Some are very vocal, some are very shy, some are very introvert, some are extrovert. So there also we have to bring them all together on the same page. And this is same which I am expecting from all of you, my dear educators. Thank you so much for responding now. Okay, so these are the factors of teaching, effectiveness of teacher educators. And these are some of the points which we have already discussed. And by all this amalgamation, we can understand that all the culmination of all these points makes us the effective teacher. Now let us understand these point-wise that how these are effective, as which we have already discussed subject matter expert. So how do you prepare yourself to be the subject matter expert? What is your way of making yourselves subject expert? Can I get your answers? When you say you are on stage 4, where you are the subject expert, where you are creating the impact on the students, how do you prepare yourselves? Extra research and reading. Wonderful, Sophie ma'am. Yeah, Sakina ma'am says by reading new and upgraded things related to my subject. Absolutely. Geeta ma'am says by preparing teaching aids. That's true. Rosa ma'am says, keep learning. Oh, yes. Dr. Tiwari says, always update yourself. Absolutely. Devya ma'am says, updating ourselves. Right. Sri Devi ma'am says, maybe I am through in my subject. Okay. Poonam ma'am says, keep learning. That is the foremost thing, ma'am. Shilpa ma'am says, having deep knowledge of concept with updated knowledge. Absolutely right, ma'am. Neeta ma'am says, throughout knowledge of subject, update knowledge, solving doubts of students. Absolutely, ma'am. Because this is how, when we are solving the doubts of our students, not by one single method, let it be any subject, even it is not only about mathematics where we are having different methods to solve a sum. It may be science also, it may be social science also, it may be English also, it may be your subject also, where you can give the different ways for the student to learn. If the child has learned in the same method, at times what happens, as we as teachers, at times we forget this thing, that the child, the way I have taught the child, and the child is coming again with the doubt, we teach in the same way or with the same method which we have taught earlier. But we need to understand this thing, that if the same method is being understood by the child would not have been approached to us. So if any student reaches us with the query, with the doubt, always try to make the child understand by the different ways, not with the same method. And this is how we can create impact on the students. Yeah, Simi ma'am says updating by practicing. Absolutely right, ma'am. Naik sir says, and Nazni Naik ma'am says, thorough knowledge of the content. Yes, ma'am. And nobody could be perfect in any subject. This also we need to keep in our minds. So keep on practicing, keep on reading, keep on listening about our subjects. This is how we can bring the additional things to the students. Nowadays, the students, where they are having Google with a click, they come prepared in our classrooms. So being the teacher, being the facilitator, we need to understand what additional learning we can give to the student to create the interest of the child into our teaching. This is how we can make the child intact in the learning part. Sarita ma'am says preparing based on the demography of the class. Absolutely correct, ma'am. Vibha ma'am says providing appropriate references as well as updating ourselves. That's true, ma'am. Hala Rizvi ma'am says by understand the learning process of my students. Yes, by that only we can understand where my child stands. At times, we indulge so much in our teaching, and we in between we could not even ask from the students whether they are able to understand us or not. Okay, Purvi ma'am, I'll share the link. Okay, Jyoti ma'am says having enhanced skills. Absolutely right, ma'am. So Makshi ma'am says having knowledge of subject and update ourselves. Martina ma'am says keep ourselves informed, updated, in tune with current scenario. Absolutely correct, ma'am. So Neeta ma'am says having knowledge and interest in our subject. Obviously, ma'am, interest plays a lot of impact upon us. If we are having interest, then only we can read and we can study it more, and that same impact we can create in our classrooms as well. Yeah, Preeti ma'am says attending workshops and training sessions. Yes, this is how we can enhance our understanding. Prarthana ma'am says by updating, by practicing, learning new things, watching related videos. Yes, this is also very helpful nowadays. We can watch the related videos also on YouTube or on different platforms. Rupali ma'am says update knowledge, solving doubts of students. Absolutely right, ma'am. Rakhi Joshi ma'am says be authentic while teaching and always remain learner. That is the foremost thing of a teacher, ma'am. The teacher must be a lifelong learner. And this is how we grow, and this is how we groom our students. Sarita ma'am says we need to go to the level of the students' understanding. Absolutely right, ma'am. We need to understand from where we have to pick the child. Sunita ma'am says attending trainings. Yes, essential part of the educator, ma'am. Sulochana ma'am says we should update ourselves. Sophie ma'am says promote the students to ask more doubts so we teachers will learn more. Absolutely right, ma'am. Arun sir says we present. Absolutely. How we present the topic, how we connect the children, how we make them to be connected with us. Very, very essential. By enhancing our skills, Jyoti ma'am says. Preeti ma'am says creating resources, developing and sharing educational resources. Yes, absolutely right, ma'am. Sarita ma'am says we are learners too. Absolutely, ma'am. Rosa ma'am says changing our strategies. Absolutely. Neeta ma'am says we only facilitate. Yeah. Nowadays, maybe this is also true, ma'am. Vibha ma'am says true, ma'am. Okay. Manju ma'am says upgrade ourselves. Absolutely right, ma'am. And yeah, Dr. Tiwari says creating the new things as per the current world. Absolutely right, sir. Sarita ma'am says experiential learning. Yeah. Arun sir says presentation of lesson. By teaching, we are learning as well. Shri Devi ma'am says absolutely right, ma'am. Arun sir says method of teaching. Absolutely. Jyoti ma'am says having deep understanding. Absolutely, ma'am. Neeta ma'am says synchronize as per needs of our students. Very, very important point, ma'am. Reshu Chauhan ma'am says playway teaching method. Absolutely, ma'am. No matter which class is, no matter which age group is, playway teaching method works and do wonders in the classrooms. Gajendra sir says joyful teaching. Absolutely, sir. Rakhi ma'am says teachers should create a safe space for self-expression and celebrate the diversity of opinions within the classrooms. Absolutely, ma'am. Joyful learning. Yeah, that's true. So I believe we all, more than 100 educators, we are on this platform, and we all are agreeing with all these points by which we can make our teaching where we are giving the expert periods or expert material to our students, and the students can find it a better learning, and they can have the respect to their educators. So the time is about to over for this Zoom meeting. Kindly join with the same link again.